Hi, friends. Here we go. How are y'all doing? I'm gonna wait for a few more people to join before we get started on our severe storm threat this weekend. And let me make sure that. Here we go. Okay. Let's move this over. All right, let's get started, y'all. We are going to see a pretty significant storm system move through the south this weekend. It's going to bring us our highest tornado threat in about a year. We've been talking about this all week. It's why we first alert. The area you see in yellow has by far the highest risk of severe tornadic storms, and that includes most of the western portion of our viewing area. This is going to be a line of storms that moves in on Saturday evening, okay? We have all of the ingredients in place. We got moist, warm air at the low levels. We'll be in the mid-70s on Saturday. We got a very strong jet stream, and those features combine to bring us rotation. So this is the Storm Prediction Center's current bullseye. You can see we're 3 days out. They usually do not issue this high of a risk 3 days out from an event. So that just tells you that this is really something to take seriously. The bullseye for long track and violent tornadoes will be from Birmingham, Alabama, down through Montgomery, Tuscaloosa, down through Mobile, including New Orleans, Jackson, Mississippi. So it will be to our west. But here, we are all under a level 3 out of 5 risk for severe weather. I would say we get a level 3 out of 5 risk about 15 times a year. So it's pretty significant. And again, 3 days out, that tells you that this is serious. This is for pretty much all of our viewing area. As these storms arrive in West Georgia, they will be the strongest. They will weaken slightly as they move into Metro Atlanta and weaken even more after midnight as they push into East Georgia, okay? So I want to start you out on Saturday morning because I know I've been getting a lot of questions, a lot of you wondering, is it going to rain on Saturday morning because the St. Patrick's Day parade is at noon in Midtown and our entire First Alert team is planning on walking in it? The answer is there may be rain and thunder leading up to the parade, which starts at noon, okay? This is the current graph model, which just came in. It's the 12Z model, so it's pretty accurate data. It's definitely thinking that Northwest Georgia is going to be very wet on Saturday morning, but you can see that rain kind of moves north. I don't think that we'll see storms or rain during the parade. Look, by noon, again, it's mostly dry in Metro Atlanta, but leading up, we could wake up to some rain and thunder. However, between about noon and 5 p.m., it's completely dry across North Georgia. So the day itself on Saturday does not look too bad. It'll actually be in the upper 70s. You're going to notice it's very windy. That wind coming in from the south, that's the jet stream. That's the energy sucking in that air. That's the precursor to the storms, okay, which arrive in West Georgia. And again, the time on this could shift forward or backward a few hours, okay, earlier or later. But it looks right now like that main line arrives at 8 p.m. in West Georgia. And I wanted to stop it because I want you to look. Ahead of the main line, you see those little like dots of yellow from LaGrange to Carrollton? Those are those isolated cells in front of the main line. Any of those cells that pop, they're called supercell storms, could be tornadic. That's what we're the most worried about is in front of the main line, those supercell storms could have tornadoes embedded within them. The main line could also have tornadoes embedded within them, but the main line usually has more parallel wind than rotation. Okay, watch what happens. I'm going to stop the clock again at midnight. See how those cells kind of form into just a straight line? That's good news. That means that tornado threat will lessen slightly as this line reaches Metro Atlanta. But also, see the very thin gradient between the green and the red on the front end of that line? That is strong 60, 70 mile per hour winds. So tornadoes will be a threat, but damaging straight line winds will also be a threat. We could see power outages and down trees. You guys know the drill. This moves into East Georgia 3 a.m., and then it will move out by sunrise on Sunday. So again, this is the current timeline for weekend storms. Rain, thunder, likely Saturday morning. Saturday afternoon looks dry. Saturday night into Sunday morning is when we see the storms really 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. And then Sunday afternoon we dry out, the sun comes back out. All right, so very high wind risk with this system. I'm looking at the downdraft cape, which is one of the severe weather indices I look at, and that really gives me an idea if we're going to see downburst, which is the straight line winds. I'm not seeing extremely high numbers, but the jet stream is going to be so strong, guys, that I think that the winds up at like 5,000 feet in the atmosphere could come down with those storms with the downdraft. So we really could see damaging winds. That's going to be the main risk, and lightning. There's a lot of energy. So if you have dogs or kids that don't like thunder, they're going to be crawling in bed with you on Saturday night. A moderate risk for tornadoes, which we don't issue very often. Okay, I would say this is the highest tornado risk in around a year. And the flood risk is not high, but it's not zero, okay? We'll go through the flood risk in a little bit, but I want to show you the tornado threat. This is what's called the supercell composite. It takes the winds at the surface and the winds at 5,000 feet in the atmosphere, and it makes a vector with those winds, and depending on how far the vector is, or that gives you an idea of how much rotation there is and the strength of those winds. Basically, that is what this output is. It's just basically measuring the veering and the strength and speed of winds between 0 feet and 5,000 feet in the atmosphere, and that really allows us to see, is there going to be tornadoes? You can see that tornado threat is really high at noon on Saturday from Mississippi through western Alabama. Now watch what happens. As this storm system moves east, the threat stays high. As it moves into West Georgia, it's still about a 3, okay, out of 5 for a tornado threat. And that'll be around 10 p.m. So the front end of that line could really have tornadic storms across West Georgia. Then you can see as the storm system moves into Metro Atlanta, it loses a little bit of the rotation. The speed's still there, but the rotation becomes a little bit more linear. So we lose a little bit of the tornado threat, but it's still there. Still about a 2 out of 5 threat for Metro Atlanta. And then the threat lowers even more as the storms push east into East Georgia through the overnight hours. So again, I'm still seeing the potential for tornadoes across our entire area on Saturday evening and Saturday night. Though the potential rain is down, most areas going to get about an inch and a half, but up in northwest Georgia, see from Rome, Chattooga County, over through Gilmore County, Fannin County, those areas could see 2 inches of rain. We could see some flash flooding, and we are under like a 15% chance of flash flooding on Saturday. Again, this could be Saturday morning. Remember how I showed you those storms moving through? It looks like the mountains could see some rain Saturday morning, so the ground could get, pretty saturated, and then any additional rain could cause some flash flooding. But this is mainly going to be while we're asleep, so I don't think that that's the biggest risk, okay? So once again, we've extended the first Friday into Sunday because this is going to be an overnight event into Sunday, but essentially by the time you wake up Sunday, this is out of here, right? We're still going to be watching this really closely because you guys know Saturday evening, y'all will be out. You won't be around a TV. It's a great way to great time to download our app, guys. Okay? Our app is free to download. We're constantly sending video updates. And it's a great tool to have when we're entering in days like this where there's going to be severe weather, okay? In terms of today, 30% chance. That will be just this afternoon for a stray storm south and west of the city, and the severe threat is low with that, okay? All right, I'm seeing some questions. When can Atlanta expect the worst wind? From Maisie K. Hi, Maisie. The worst of the wind in Atlanta, let's go back, will be between 10 p.m. and midnight. Okay, so let's do this again. Right when that main line reaches us, see that? I would say between 10 p.m. to 1 a.m., give or take an hour. That's what it looks like right now. So while you're headed to bed, that's when we could see the damaging wind threat. Will there be storms Saturday during the day? Jason, I just answered that. The answer is no. Saturday during the day will be dry, but starting at like 6, 7 p.m., that's when your guard needs to go up, okay? All right, guys. Again, great time to download our app. Go to the App Store, type in Atlanta First Alert Weather. It's free to download, okay? And then if it'll cue you to say, can this app send you push notifications? Say yes. When there are severe thunderstorm warnings or if there's any tornado warnings in your specific area, you also have to allow it to use your location. Then all night it'll send you any alerts. So that's how you can get alerts on your phone, okay? We also will have meteorologists here. Our whole team will be here. We're also planning on walking in the parade, some of us. But we will have a meteorologist or two here the entire day on Saturday, overnight into Sunday, and through the day of Sunday to keep you and your family safe, all right? Okay, guys, I am going to go home and get some sleep because this weekend's going to be wild. I will be here all weekend working for you, all right? That's what we do. That's why we do what we do. Hope you have a wonderful day. Enjoy this nice warm weather. It looks like it's actually going to continue. It looks like spring is here. And today the pollen count was high, so take your allergy medicine. It's only going to get higher from here on out.